Hi, I'm Dr. Sata with Insight Functional Health, and thanks for joining me. In this video series, we're going to talk about a number of the foundations in functional medicine. Today's topic is detoxification pathways. And what I mean by this is just the normal mechanisms your body uses to clear toxins and metabolites and waste products that are just a product of being alive and your cells functioning normally. And if you had a cup of coffee this morning and you have caffeine in your system and by this evening it's out of your body, that's because your liver cleared that pathway away. So those are the types of systems my goal is to optimize. And when I think about toxins, it's not so much what the chemical is. The caffeine in your coffee isn't necessarily a toxin. What I care about is the rate at which it's coming in and the rate at which you can clear it, so that you can always clear things more rapidly than you're being exposed. The other thing you think about is that some of these are synergistic. So if you had a cappuccino and a soda and you had some coffee beans and all of that had a little bit of caffeine in it, that could overload your system because it's using all the same pathways. In the same way, there's only so many chemical systems that clear toxins. And so if you're getting a little bit from a lot of different sources, they can add up and be a problem, more so than if it was just a single chemical on its own. So when we think about toxins, one approach is to try to reduce the overall exposure. Another approach is to optimize the way in which you're metabolizing things, so that's as efficient as possible. And I try to keep both of those in mind. And one of the main detoxification organs in the body is the liver. And you can think about the liver kind of like a filter. All these little brown cells are hepatocytes or liver cells, and they function to filter the bloodstream. And you pull toxins from the liquid portion of the blood into the liver through these little finger-like projections. And then within the little brown cells, you alter the chemical structure of those toxins so that now you can secrete them into these little green dots, or like baby bile ducts. And those drain into real bile ducts. And then all of those continue to drain until they enter into the GI tract. And so you have toxins coming in. You also have bile salts, which help you absorb your fats coming into the GI tract, and pancreatic enzymes that are helping digestion come in at the same point. And this is just downstream from from the stomach. So right about here. And then that whole slurry of enzymes and bile and food comes down into the small intestine. And then it's the intestinal lining that has to determine what gets absorbed, what are nutrients that your body needs, what are waste products that are supposed to stay in the stool, and then are you actually eliminating your stool? So when people have constipation and their stool is hanging out for an extended period of time before it exits, you have plenty of time for the bacteria in the gut to alter some of those toxins such that you can reabsorb them, and now they get back to the liver and you're just recycling them. And so we look at ways to optimize the bacteria in your gut to make sure you've got the right nutrients, make sure we're dealing with constipation if that's a problem. Another thing to think about is what's actually happening within the liver. And so I said you start with a toxin and there's chemical reactions that are going on. So one is a set called phase 1 chemical enzymes, and they convert you into something that's an intermediate. And these intermediates are frequently worse for you than what you started with, i.e. they can cause more damage than the original chemical. And so you need to get them through phase 2. And phase 2 reactions are dependent on all of these different amino acids, or the building blocks of proteins. So if somebody comes to the hospital and they have a Tylenol overdose, it's right here, and the Tylenol gets converted into an intermediate that's actually very damaging for the liver, the treatment is mucomist, which is N-acetylcysteine, which is just a nutrient. And the whole goal is to open up that phase 2 pathway as fast and wide as possible so you can clear that Tylenol metabolite faster and it doesn't do as much damage. When I work with patients, my goal is also to make sure that all of these pathways are functioning optimally. Phase 3, I think about basically ensuring you're not constipated, because if you are, then that eliminates this process of the bile draining into the stool. Then we make sure phase 2 is working, phase 1, that you've got all of these nutrients. We look at what you're being exposed to, how rapidly you can clear it, and trying to see if we can't optimize your health from that perspective. And so if this was helpful, you're welcome to reach out to us. We have a lot more content online and also on YouTube. And if you're a patient in the DC metro area, I'm licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, I'm happy to talk with you. You can go to our website and schedule a free discovery call at any point. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.